Welcome back to Adorama TV. My name is Gary Hughes, and today we're going to talk about branding sessions. I photograph a lot of ambitious people who need great images to market themselves and their brand, and today I'm going to go over 5 must-have looks to get out of every branding session that will not only make your client happy, but hopefully make you a lot more money. We have Caleb from Spectacle running the video today, and the wonderful Maud Turner is back in the studio working for us as our model. Now, if you see me using any gear in this video, just check the description, and the good folks at Adorama will have loaded it with links to everything that I'm using, so you can check that out. So right now we're going to dig into our very first look, the basic headshot. So the first thing on our list is going to be the basic headshot. This is going to be the kind of thing that's going to be a LinkedIn profile picture, email signature, business card, a close-up that's supposed to be really powerful and eye-catching. So I've got Maud here ready to go. She's got a beautiful purple jacket on, so I matched that with a complementary green as the background. And I'm using the Fujifilm GFX 100S2 and the 45 to 100 millimeter f4 lens as my whip today. And all of the lights are Flashpoint and the modifiers are glow today. And this is a new one for me. I just got this. This is the glow 28-inch beauty dish, white interior with a diffuser cover. So I'm going to be trying that out on this headshot and seeing how I like it. All right, so let's get started with that straight on. So Maud, would you face me dead straight on? Go to the left just a tiny bit so I send you on that background. That's perfect. And then with your hands kind of relaxed at your sides, really keep your shoulders loose. So we're going to go tall and then just forward into me like a tiny little bow almost. That's it, perfect. And then eye contact right with the lens. And then give me just a small, confident smile and a tilt your head that way just a little bit. Boom. All right. Now give me one like full smile like I just gave you a plate full of gluten-free chocolate chip cookies. Yes, I know. It's always dessert, man. I'm a big, maybe because I don't eat that much dessert and I just think about it a lot. All right, perfect. Now I want you to turn your feet to the left a little bit of center. Put your body weight onto your left foot, point your right foot slightly at the camera. Awesome. Now give me straight, tall back, loose shoulders, and then bring your chin to your right shoulder just a touch, and then out to me a little bit. And then just give me kind of like some real confidence, some warm cockiness even. Yeah, but keep leading with that chin out, keeping those shoulders loose. Show me in a pinch of the eyes and then the corners of the mouth. Let it just resonate there. Good. And now lift your chin a little bit. More powerful. I love that. All right, now one last look. We're going to go straight on again, back to center. And so one of the things I do when I'm moving someone around for a headshot is I use the center as my reference. Everybody knows how to come back to center. So rather than trying to readjust the pose completely, I always bring people back to the middle and then move them again. So if you turn to your right, Maud, just a bit, and I'm going to keep you at that angle. Your brain doesn't like it when your face and your sternum are in different directions. So I'm going to kind of move you around that way a little bit. But if you drift, don't worry about it. I might have to tell you to do the same thing 10 times. But it's just your brain trying to line your body up. All right. So I'm going to have you give you real tall. This one's going to be like a little more super badass, like I'll see you in court vibes, okay? Like I'll see you in court. Turn your chin a little bit like this and out to me a little bit. There you go. Chin up a hair and then right down the lens. I'll see you in court. Perfect. Chin up just a little bit. You're awesome at this because how are you not laughing at that terrible, terrible voiceover I just did? Tilt right just a little bit. In a world. All right. Relax it a little more stern and then narrow those eyes at the bottom, lean in, keep shoulders loose and that back nice and straight. Beautiful. Okay, we got it. So that's look 1. We got the headshot in. Now we're moving on to look number 2. This is going to be the hero image. So let's reset the studio and move on to that. Okay, so we're ready now for shot number 2. This is the hero shot. Imagine dropping into a website where the featured person is a really important, ambitious business person, coach, entrepreneur. And this is going to be their website that they're going to be using to sell their services and to reinforce their brand. Well, most of these websites will be designed with some kind of big banner image and some kind of hero image. So whether that's at the top or somewhere else in the website, almost every one of these kind of sites needs that hero image to show the strength, the vision, the power of that particular person and their brand. So how I've designed it in this case is I start by thinking I want to make the person look bigger. In that case, I'm going to make sure my camera angle is pretty low, not necessarily on the ground, but low that gives people power. I'm using a lens rather than a really long telephoto like 100 or 200 millimeter lens. I'm shooting this probably at about, I would say this is more like a 40 or a 50 millimeter focal length equivalent on a full frame camera, something a little wider, so that perspective is also going to make it look more grand. And I've created a system here with just one light and a reflector, and it's going to create some really cool shadow while I've still got nice detail. And I've picked a really good color harmony to go with this look. She's got this beautiful cream colored top on, and so I picked a nice blue. It's got a similar kind of level of like saturation and intensity, and still keeps everything really warm and bright. So when you're doing images like this, I would either shoot them on a completely clean white or light gray background that I could adjust later, or I would try to find something in the studio, a background that I already own that fits that sort of brand color guide or vision for that particular person. So let's get started here. I've got, again, just one light, the 28-inch Beauty Dish on the Flashpoint 8600 Pro 2, and I've got a manky old piece of card here. Like it's just a big old piece of poster board, so there's nothing fancy there, on a Flashpoint C stand with a Manfrotto clamp on there. And so we're going to use this Beauty Dish with the diffuser sock on it. My goal is to create light that is powerful, but that I've got all the detail there in the shadows. And I want this to feel very big, but leave lots of room for copy and design. And so you want to photograph these images a little bit wider than they'll actually be used. And I think that's one of the reasons why I love the GFX for this, is because it's got an incredible dynamic range, but also so many pixels you could crop in and use almost any part of this image at that 102 megapixels. All right, Maud, are you ready, my friend? All right, let's do this. And I'll throw the camera settings on the screen before every setup. And I promise I'll try to make a lighting diagram to also put on the screen so that those questions will be answered automatically. All right, so what I want to do is kind of create a situation that adds depth to the image by casting a shadow onto the background. So I've got Maud really pretty much standing right next to this blue gradient background. So let's start with, I love pants with pockets, like slacks with pockets. Start with just your hands in your pockets. And then, yeah, make sure those thumbs are slightly in there too. I always think with the thumbs out, it always reminds me of like a groomsman photo in a wedding in the 90s, like that vibe, like sweet. But so I do the thumbs how you want to, okay? I'm not the thumb police. All right, so what I'll have you do now is keep your shoulders relaxed. This is you in kind of looking like a visionary. And I want you to turn your head a little bit back into that light so I get the light in your eyes and almost be looking over the camera. That's great. Chin forward just a little bit. All right, now sometimes, not all the time, I like to do what I call the Wonder Woman pose for these. So I have you, or the Mariska Hargitay. If you ever seen Law and Order SVU, this is award-winning actor Mariska Hargitay, or Detective Olivia Benson. All right, put your left foot forward, and then bring your hands to your hips, like, yeah, but relax them. You're not a superhero. You're just sort of like thinking, chatting. There you go. There we go. We try that one. And turn your upper body to me a little bit this way. Good. And then turn your head into the light over here. And that's great. And then but your eye line is here. So turn your head a little more this way, but your eye line's right there. And I'm just trying to make sure that when I'm photographing her, that the eyes aren't just whites because she's looking over here. So I'm breaking eye line with the camera, but I am having her face one way and her eyes slightly go in a different direction because I want more of the eyes and more of the pupils and iris, less of the sclera. All right, boom. Chin up a little bit. Nicely done. All right, up your body, turn a little bit that way, and then tilt a smidge over here and then that way, and then eye line right there for me. Beautiful. Add just a hint more smile to it. Nicely done. And now there's lots of room around here for copy. Could easily be put into something like a website. And now not looking at the camera, I want you looking this way, above, lips together gently, chin up a little bit, look real confident, like you just thought your next big idea and you just got funded. Heck yeah. Relax your shoulders a little bit. Wonderful. All right, let's try one more. I want to have you cross your arms. And so you've got some unique stuff. Anytime your subject has something unique, it's really cool to feature that in the image to add to the storytelling. Maud's got some really incredible tattoos on one sleeve all the way down her right arm. So I want to make sure that we kind of use that a little bit. Bring your right foot around just so your hips are a little more facing me this way. Good. All right. And now we're going to have you, I like that pose. I want you to turn you just a little bit away from me. There. Perfect. And then turn your head this way just a touch. That's it. And then you're gonna look right into the camera, the eye line first. And like those hands kind of like that, exactly right. Almost like you're giving a PowerPoint. They call that tenting in like the live event speaker CEO world, and it's supposed to not be good, but I always think it looks kind of cool. Just keep it loose so it doesn't look like you're throwing like a weird upside down triangle gang sign. So almost like you don't want to look like you're waiting for someone to come back from the war. You want to look like I'm giving a PowerPoint and coming back to center. Yeah, that's it. Perfect. That's exactly right. Really loose. Nice. And now tilt your head a little bit to the right. Turn your head a little bit left. Good. Eyes right here. No teeth, but warm and confident. Chin up just a touch. And now give me one more. And this is a danger zone kind of a pose, but sometimes it works depending on the subject. So sometimes you try it and it doesn't work, and that's okay. And that is the arm cross. So Maud, if you give me the cross of the arms, and so you want one to go all the way down the rabbit hole. Let me see the fingers on the other. And now keep it loose, because you're such a strong build in shoulders and muscular arms. I think this is a really cool thing to add strength. And in this case, a lot of times you're trying to make somebody look friendly and approachable. In this case, I'm not. I'm trying to make her look like an absolute badass. And so I don't care about friendly and approachable. I want her to look like a visionary leader, warrior. All right, turn this way, even a little more, chin to your shoulder. And then you're gonna eye lines here. Relax your shoulders, take a deep breath, let them loose. And let a small smile just curve up into the corners of your mouth there. And then, yeah, make sure those eyebrows are on point. They look, everything looks really good. Chin up a little bit, more warmth. Turn a little bit more into the light, but keep your eyes on my hand. Yep, that's actually a good quad workout to shoot low like that. All right, let me see what I did. Okay, I'm thrilled with that. Okay, perfect. We've got a really killer hero image for our banner, a few different posing options for the client. And now we're gonna move on to a totally different vibe, which is going from kind of website images to social media images. These clients very often don't just need images for their website, they'll need images to be used consistently throughout marketing campaigns on social media and in other places. So we're gonna go into playfully cheesy territory here, but these images, although they might come across a little bit like gimmicky, they actually really work when trying to get eyeballs on them and to get clicks. So let's move on to that. The next shot on our list is one that I call the business casual shot, or sometimes I call it the coffee shot, because you're about to find out my studio is stocked with different kinds of coffee mugs that I can use as props in shots of the professionals I work with. So what I'm doing is I'm going to get a little more relaxed shot. So the dress is now kind of business casual. We're gonna do seated. And the whole idea is to create some more relaxed personality shots that can be used for other things besides looking like a very serious thought leader. And my goal here is to give some social media images as well as alternative website images, and remaining in the mindset that I want to leave room for copy as much as I possibly can. These are gigantic files that come off of modern mirrorless cameras, especially this GFX 100S2. It's 102 megapixels. So like, you know, you don't have to go crazy cropping in. Everything will be useful by the time the shoot is over, but I still like to keep in mind where the images are gonna go when I'm done. So I'm gonna start right here with Maud in a simple IKEA white folding chair. Unfortunately, Adorama doesn't sell IKEA folding chairs, I don't think, but in case you needed to find where that was from. Also coffee mug, also via IKEA. And the rest of the lighting setup, you'll be able to check out the previous video that I did with Adorama, lighting a full-length portrait, to get a more detailed breakdown on how this works. But essentially, I'm using one light here, this 8300, to cast a base layer of light across the whole image and the background, lighting Maud from head to toe and illuminating the background, as well as adding this Beauty Edition layered on top of it in order to create a really cool pattern of light on her face. And those two lights mixed together, giving me exposure of f5.6. I'll put a lighting diagram and a camera settings list on the screen for you. I'm also adding a little bit of edge light back here from this strip light, and then splashing a little bit of light on the background just to create a little bit of gradient and depth. So we've got a total of 1, 2, 3, 4 lights in this setup. You absolutely don't have to do it this way, but you're probably gonna ask. So here is the idea: relaxed business casual shots, and I'm just gonna run through a few poses with Maud while you watch. All right, so everything's metered and ready to go. Camera settings on the screen for you now, and I'm gonna start by posing Maud. So with this folding chair, I want you to kind of drape your right arm over the back till your wrist is on the top of the chair rather than your elbow. If that was if your resting your arm here with the height of that, it's going to end up pushing your shoulder up. So I want your hand really relaxed. And then you can be with that coffee cup, just have a hand on it. And do me a favor, can you cross one leg up, maybe put your right ankle on your left knee. Good. And then extend your left arm out. And even if you would, I know this seems real persnickety, could you just slightly lift your index finger so it's just a little bit longer than the rest? I love that. So I'm going to start thinking in terms of social media posts first. And so I'm going to photograph some vertical images that include the floor, the wall, the background, and that these will be able to be cropped in pretty easily, but these types of things can often end up in Reels and TikToks and things of that nature. I tilt a little bit this way and then turn just a little bit this way. And I want you to start with just a small, tiny smile, but no teeth, lips gently together. Excellent. I'm going to take that low angle, giving authority. Good. And now what I want you to do is to kind of laugh, but laugh like here. Laugh at something right there. Big fake laugh, as fake as you can get it. You got to go hard. Too much. You blew it. You went, you went way past it. Good. I like that very much. That's awesome. Now tilt your head a little bit that way. Perfect. All right, chin forward and down just a little bit. And then like small, warm smile. Like kind of almost inviting me to come have coffee with you if you like. Perfect. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change to a landscape orientation, leaving room for copy. Any kind of design collateral will need that room for copy, so always keep that in mind. And then I'm going to use a lot of negative space on this white background. So let's start with kind of just like warm and approachable. This way a little bit, chin forward and down a touch. That's awesome, just so. Love that. Lots of room for copy there. Turn your head a little bit that way. Perfect. Love that. Great. And then one more laugh like right there. Hi. Perfect. And then over here a little bit. And then really belly laugh like that. Yeah, perfect. That's the casual shot. Like, all right, good. And now I'm going to go in for a slightly medium length version of this, but still vertical, just to get a little bit more of that normal eye view, okay? All right, here we go. And again, leaving lots of room for space for cropping and collateral. And do that again, laughing over the top of my head. Good. Bring your left hand to the coffee cup if you would. Yeah, nice. There you go. And now you're laughing right over top. Perfect. Love that. And now small smile, but warm like you just got done laughing. And you do that sigh like after you laugh. Ah, perfect. Lips together gently. Warm. Beautiful. Okay, now what I want you to do is I'm going to have you change. I'll take the coffee cup from you for just a second. Can you turn around and give me like cowgirl seating on the chairs? So like straddle that chair and use it as an armrest. Good. And rotate this way like two. That's it, just so. And I like that if you lean over all the way down, tilt your head into this, turn this way a little bit. Okay, this is just going to be a slightly different version, a coffee-free version, but still lots of warmth and nice and casual and relaxed. Beautiful. I love that. Thank you. Chin forward a little bit. Relax those shoulders. Really important to keep those loose. Turn your head a little bit this way. Lift your chin just a little bit. Good. And then give me a full smile this way too. Go a little harder, like turn it up 6%. Raise your chin a little bit. Now laugh over my head, like here. Perfect. And good. Tilt a little. Boom. I don't even know what that looks like. I was just too excited to be taking that picture. Cool. Okay. All right, now bring your arms across the chair like that. And yeah. And then this is going to be close, kind of like a more intimate shot. So I'm coming like a little closer, like we're going to be sharing information. Okay, so turn your head a little bit. Really chin forward. Good. Okay, perfect. And there we have it. And then let it, I'm telling you, by like 2/3 of 1% of a smile, just touching the corners of your mouth, crinkling the bottoms of your eyes just a little bit, leaning even a little more this way and forward, like really almost like conspiratorial, like we're about to share a whisper, like a secret there. That's awesome. Beautiful. Lots of room for copy. I'm going to photograph it both ways. And now I want you to look here, and then you're going to smile at this unicorn. Smile. Perfect. Excellent. Nailed it. All right. So now we've got some really cool casual shots, lots of room for copy, all clean and easy to change the color of the background, to extract if need be. And that's going to be super, super useful not only for website stuff, but for social media marketing. So let's move on to our next setup. This next shot is one I like to call the book shot. I use books as props, and in fact sometimes even encourage my clients to bring a book that's important to them to the session. You'll find that a lot of these ambitious folks we photograph for these kinds of things are avid readers. But it also makes a really good prop that you can blank out and use for a download. A lot of times you're going to find that people use something like a book for sale or an ebook as a download in order to bring people into a marketing funnel, so it becomes a really useful marketing image for your clients. And so we're going to start with that and then end up showing you kind of a really cool composited image that you can do with stuff like this. And I want you to just make a note on the lighting. I'm using two lights here. This is the Flashpoint 8300 that's bouncing off the wall to give me fill light top to bottom. And again, I'm using the 8600 Pro 2 with that 28-inch beauty dish a little closer to create a nice pattern of light on Maud's face. All right, let's do it. All right, camera is fired up and ready to go. Camera settings are going to go on the screen somewhere. And if I can, I will get you a lighting diagram up there if I can make it fit on the screen. All right, Maud, go ahead and just stand nice and tall, and you're reading that book like you just like I almost just walked upon you reading it at a bus stop, and then you're gonna. But it's your mind's on serious things. All right, eyes to me. Beautiful. Chin up a little bit. Like, oh, you found me interesting now. Oh, you read this book too. Oh, how cool is that? What was your favorite part? You didn't read this book. You're so full of crap. I'm just kidding. Very good. And now we've got this really cool, like, it makes a great prop. And I always think that you'll find that people who are very, very ambitious often read, and so it's not a hard sell to get them to bring in a book. But I do keep several books in the studio, and one of my favorites, oversubscribed, which we'll use, is white. And I really like that because it's very easy to blank out, to Photoshop everything off of the cover of the book and then put in other words, and that's how we're going to use it next. So what I have you do is face me straight on, and I want you to close the book, and I want you to hold it up almost so I'm looking at the cover. There it is, and that is exactly right. Now this is going to be, if this is a book that Maud wrote or a free download or something, so I want you to, you got to look at the user like this is the book that's going to solve all their problems. Like, you know you want this book. There you go. Chin out just a little bit, turn your head a little bit left, and there we go. Boom. So, and then tilt the book this way just a touch and bring it down a little bit, and I'm going to switch to kind of a slightly more vertical image to give that option there. All right, and now no big smile, small confident smile, like like you've got the punchline to the joke. There you go. You know the answer to the riddle. I like that a lot. All right, good. This way just a touch, and now full smile. There you go. Yeah, go big. 6% more. That's perfect. You know, you're really good at holding books. Did you put that on your resume? I think that's like a killer skill. All right, so now what I want to do is I'm going to get a photo where the book is large and very easy to add text and type to, and where maybe the person who's selling this doesn't necessarily want to be the focus of the image. So we're going to have Maud hold it out. There we go. And I'm going to move my light just a little bit. Boom. All right. And I'm, by the way, you may have noticed this mirror here, which I will very often lean onto the front of the tripod so that my subjects can see themselves. And this helps them keep an eye on their wardrobe and their hair, especially kind of like when I'm working alone. So now I'm going to get in nice and close. We're going to 86 this mirror for just a second. All right, now let's do this. Go up with the book this way. Take a step to your left. There you go. And then the book up here a little bit more. And now we're going to focus on the book. There it is. And raise it up. There we go. Up. And now take your left hand and drop it. You're going to hold the book one-handed. There you go. Perfect. And then up even a little more to the side here. And now you're going to, in the background of this shot, you're kind of out of focus in the background, but you're going to be tilted a little bit this way. Like, I'm sorry, the book that way. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Like, pull the book back toward you like that. Yeah. No, I'm sorry. Like, tilt. Ah, that's it. Nailed it. Okay, perfect. Now you're doing like a huge smile out of focus in the background. Like you're laughing at the back of that book. There you go. Nicely done. 2 and 3. Cool. All right, now I've got that covered. Nice. That is, I mean, you're thinking that's a cheesy picture, but that picture we'll get them some leads, which is what we want. So now I'm going to do two different photos that we're going to attempt to make a composite out of, all right? So we're going to basically make two different images into one so that we can both see an incredible expression on Mod here and also read what's on the cover of the book. So the first photo is going to be Mod without the book. Stay like you are, though. Hold your arm out like you're still holding the book. Good. But up this way. There it is. All right. And now I want you to make eye contact with the camera. And then like the big smile, like you got the answer to all my problems. A little higher even, like there. Okay, that's exactly right. Boom. And you're going to laugh right into the lens. A little higher even. Yeah, that's it. It's a... and then tilt it down, like curve around. Yeah, that's it. That's the book. And then you're going to laugh at the book. There you go. Perfect. And boom. And now what I want you to do is to stay just like that, but hold the book. There you go. Perfect. And I'm going to zoom in on the book and get a really big, super in focus picture of the book itself. And we're going to combine these two images together into something that would make a really punchy like banner image on a website or a lead page or landing page that's trying to sell a book. And that's going to come in really handy later. All right, nice work there. All right, that one is all done. Perfect. On to the next shot. For our fifth look, we're going to do something that often gets overlooked in personal branding sessions, and that is the kind of working shot, the in-situ office shot, the work on a laptop at a coffee shop shot. These are incredibly useful in marketing, in social media posts, all kinds of ways they can be used, and they might end up even being a great about me photo on a website. And these are really, really easy to pull off. In this case, I'm going to use the beauty dish over here to short light Mod. She's using my laptop. Don't worry, she doesn't have the password. And then I've got another light back here, bouncing light around in the studio, just lighting up what's behind her. I've got a couple of windows, a lot of random junk back there. So I'm going to photograph this at a really shallow depth of field relative to the camera because I don't really care what's back there. I just want it to look like stuff in windows. And I'm using this table, which is my consult table in the office. And again, the IKEA coffee mug is back. So thank God for that. All right, so I'm going to take an angle where instead of photographing Mod directly, I am going to be from like a short angle that's almost like voyeuristic. Like it's meant to be sort of photojournalistic in feel because that shallow depth of field and the fact that I don't have engagement from the subject directly on camera. And these make great images that your clients will love. All right, Mod. To start with, what I have you do is to be typing almost like you're just at a coffee shop checking your email, and then keeping your chin forward and a little bit and then bring it down just a touch. And I want you to be looking at the screen, and the first face I want you to make is like, oh, you just got an email you were expecting. Good, thank goodness that came in a timely fashion. Good. And now you just got an email from your dad who can't remember how to log into Netflix. That's a good one. Perfect. All right, now look straight at the wall ahead of you on the other side of the laptop because you're thinking about something that just happened. Good. And now eyes back down to the screen one more time, and then give me like a full smile. You just landed a big gig. Somebody wants to use your software at the Super Bowl. How cool is that? We can't say Super Bowl, at the big game. I want to beam that out. Great. All right, perfect. Now, what I have you do is I want you to look up across just the top of the laptop as if someone just sat across from you, a friend, somebody who you're meeting, like, oh, hey, how you doing? Yeah, good. There we go. Let me double check, make sure we got that. And, all right, so I like that, but I need it to be like a little warmer, a little more convincing. This is somebody you really like, and they sat down and they brought you coffee. Yes, thank you for my favorite. You like the blonde roast, right? Yes, exactly. All right, spread your elbow out just a little bit and lean in a little more like relaxed. There it is. And then you're going to laugh at a joke. There you go. Come on, you got to make it like a real dumb, beautiful. Okay, that's fantastic. So that's going to be really useful for marketing, random social media posts. Like a lot of times people, hey, I'd like to reintroduce myself, that kind of a thing. They're really, really great general use shots, and you can move around the subject and create a bunch of different angles, but it's one that you should put into your regular list of shots you do for your branding clients. And now we're going to do the final shot, my favorite, which is the CEO Time Magazine cover shot. I try to get one of these in every single branding session, so let's set up for that. We have now entered the bonus round, and I'm going to show you this extra look that I have to get with every single client. So many of my clients are trying to get published in Forbes, Fast Company, Rolling Stone to gain prestige by having their picture and their articles and their accomplishments written down in print, in websites all over the place, and I need to give them images that will help them do that. And the way these are designed is in the traditional magazine format, what I like to call a double truck spread. Now that's a publishing term that basically means an image that might go over 2 pages of a magazine as it lays flat. So I always try to make sure that I can give a double truck and a single truck spread kind of image. So basically landscape with lots of room around it, and then portrait orientation with lots of room around it. So I always like a long table in these shots. It sort of implies like the chairperson of the board kind of thing. And so I use this a lot, but I also leave it very clean around the edges and try to use really punchy light and low angles just to show power and presence and authority. So I've got my one light set up here. That is, again, this is this Glow 28-inch beauty dish with the diffuser sock on it. And then these two 12x56 Easy Lock strips that are illuminating that white wall in the background. Now, normally I would add a little more fill light to my main light here, but since the room is completely white, those two lights blasting pretty brightly on the background, there's enough light bouncing around where even this dark suit's going to be nicely filled from top to bottom, and I'm going to get great shadow and contrast on Maud. And so my goal here is to make her look like a boss. All right, are you ready? All right, so I really like, you did this naturally, and this is some inside baseball, but off camera while I was chatting and setting up, Maud did this incredible like pose that was 90% of what I wanted, just standing there while I was setting up. And just as a pro tip, if you've got somebody in your studio, whether they're a professional model, professional actor, or whether they're just any old person, when people are relaxed and just hanging out, they often put themselves into great poses or nearly great poses. So keep an eye out for if you're setting things up and chatting, just keep an eye out for their body language and then use that because it'll feel more natural if you do. And that's one of the things I use when I pose is I always try to build off when they give me something good instead of rearranging it because I'm supposed to. All right, so what I want to have you do is to turn your body away from the light a little bit and bring your right leg kind of over and across and let that hip hang out. Love your hand in the pocket there. Keeping that left shoulder relaxed, and then let's see how that goes. I might tweak that a little bit, but let's take a test shot here. Bear in mind that the light that's illuminating your face is on your right, okay? And so I want to make sure that you're playing to it and keeping that chin up and a little bit, and then that warm, confident strength, and then eyes right to camera. Perfect. Tilt a little this way. There you go. Very cool. Tilt this way a little bit. Tilt your head a touch. I want your body to go away from the light. There you go. And then chin up a little. Tilt that way just a touch. And then that's perfect. Chin down just a little bit, Maud. And now I'm going to leave lots of room for copy here. There we are. All right. And now I want you to look over the top of the camera with that same confidence. Bring in your right shoulder to the camera a little bit more. And then chin up just a touch. Tilt a little bit. Turn your nose a little right just a little bit. There we go. And now one like full smile, almost like you laughed at my joke, but right here, eyes here. Hello. I do this all the time. This is, tell me you have 4 small children without saying you have 4 small children. Hi there. Perfect. All right, good. And now relax, no teeth, but keep that warm glow. Okay, I love that. Well done. Okay, so we have now gotten 6 different looks that I think are pretty essential in almost any branding session, and you can use these or variations of these. And give it your own flavor, do your own thing with it, but bear in mind that your job isn't just to create pretty pictures, it's to create useful pictures, pictures that your client can use to get business for themselves. So hopefully these ideas were useful to you. Take them, rewatch this video, do what you want, and don't forget to check the description because there's links to all the gear we used from the good folks at Adorama. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.